Tonight on KGW News, changing their mind on a controversial policy.
Handing out tinfoil and crack pipes is deeply misguided.
Why Multnomah County says it's now doing a 180. Plus, Newport's mayor steps down over a series of offensive Facebook posts.
And ultimately, somebody's right to speak freely should not violate my right for a sense of safety.
Then, the Blazers GM suddenly opens up with this.
And I do feel like I failed Dame.
And later, a record-breaking attempt that seems so Portland, with final curtain call for the world's longest drag show 2 days away. We'll have those stories in just a moment, but first, a breaking news and a police officer hurt while trying to stop an armed robbery during a pursuit tonight in Clackamas County. At some point, authorities tell us a Milwaukee police officer was injured when they were hit by a Clackamas County sheriff's vehicle. That officer was taken to the hospital. We understand their injuries are not life-threatening. This all started at Volstice Auto on McLaughlin Boulevard near Milwaukee. Investigators say the robber took off in a stolen pickup and hit several other cars in the parking lot. The suspect was arrested about 10 minutes later on Highway 224 when officers used spike strips to stop the truck. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm David Molko. Now to Newport, where the mayor is officially out after he was accused of posting homophobic and racist memes in a Facebook group. Dean Sawyer saying tonight, quote, "It was wrong to belittle people with experiences different than my own," end quote. Let's bring in Alma McCarty now. Alma, I suppose the question is, what now?
Well, David, Sawyer's been in office in Newport for years, first on city council and then starting in 2018 as mayor. After several transphobic, homophobic, sexist, and racist memes he posted over the last several years came to light, reaction came quickly, first with a weekend protest and now with Sawyer's resignation, an apology, and a discussion about how the coastal city moves forward.
Mayor Sawyer has taken responsibility for the postings and, as indicated, resigned his position as mayor this morning.
Monday night, Newport city councilors confirmed they urged the mayor, Dean Sawyer, to resign after a series of offensive memes surfaced in an OPB story late last week.
We had a meeting with Dean a couple of days ago, and we sat in the conference room here at City Hall, and we pretty much told Dean it's over. You can't get past this, so please don't put the city through any more problems and any more divisiveness.
Many in the community called for action too.
And ultimately, somebody's right to speak freely should not violate my right for a sense of safety and trust.
I hope he takes this opportunity to reflect, as he said in his resignation letter.
Sawyer resigned from his position Monday morning. His letter included an apology which read in part, "I am sorry to everyone in this community and anyone hurt by my actions, directly or indirectly. The posts I made and the humor I engaged in do not reflect my values." The hateful memes posted to a private law enforcement group of 39,000 members.
If you put something out on Facebook, that's out in the public.
It does appear that the mayor found on Facebook a very receptive audience. That in itself is frightening.
Residents and elected officials alike see this news as a wake-up call for the entire city of Newport.
We need to redouble our efforts in terms of cultural sensitivity and how to engage folks.
Moving forward, city leaders say they want to increase diversity, equity, and inclusion training. Council President C.M. Hall said, "Now's the time to begin to rebuild trust within the community."
I want to get to that place of inclusion and welcome that is palpable. And that means we have work to do. We have to roll up our sleeves. It has to be something that's really deeply embedded in the city's work.
Over the weekend, various agencies from the sheriff's office, the county, and the city police department condemned Sawyer's actions. David?
Alma McCarty in the newsroom tonight. Thank you, Alma. Let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, beginning with new charges against a Tigard woman accused of child abuse. Investigators say Ana Miranda abused more children than initially thought. She and her husband, Charles Ward, were first arrested in May, accused of abusing one child and a young adult. Allegations included chaining one of them up for as much as 12 hours a day. Now, sheriff's deputies say at least 3 children and that adult in their care were abused. There were a total of 9 kids in the home. Investigators are not commenting on their relationship to each other. A 15-year-old has died after a boat he was on capsized along the Oregon coast. The teen was crabbing with a 17-year-old and an adult male on Friday at the mouth of Nestucca Bay. Their boat, seen here, washed ashore today. There's the boat. The adult and the 17-year-old made it to shore safely. The 15-year-old disappeared. The Coast Guard and local agencies searched through the weekend but could not find him. The 15-year-old was not wearing a life jacket. And crews tonight are fighting the Boulder fire in the Mount Hood National Forest. It sparked sometime Saturday afternoon, forcing people to evacuate several campgrounds. Firefighters have had challenges with wind and steep, rough terrain around this fire. It's burned about 160 acres and right now is 0% contained. No word on the cause. Meanwhile, we have an update on the Tunnel 5 fire in Skamania County with substantial progress there. That blaze is now 80% contained after charring more than 500 acres over the past week. Now, keep in mind a nearly 10-mile stretch of State Route 14 along the Columbia remains closed. That fire destroyed some 10 homes in the gorge, and a local winemaker says while she is relieved her property was spared this time, she's now worried about future fires and the impact on her livelihood. Environmental reporter Cale Williams with her story.
It happened so fast. It was like we saw smoke, and then we did a little research and heard that it started down by the road.
Julia Bailey Goldstein owns Loop de Loop Wineries just outside of White Salmon, overlooking the Columbia River Gorge. And her tasting room was full on July 2nd when one of her customers noticed a whiff of smoke.
And then, like in no time, the flume, the big plume of smoke was pretty serious. It looked like, whoa.
She's seen small fires in the area, though, and hadn't considered that she might need to flee.
And we weren't that concerned about it until I just happened to glance at my phone and saw that like 10 or 15 minutes prior, we had gotten an evacuation notice.
Along with her husband, she raced to get the guests safely off the property. They collected all the propane tanks to move them to safety, then moved everything flammable away from the buildings. And then the couple fled their vineyard, one that they had only bought a few years prior, where they did the farming themselves that first year, and where they still live in a small trailer while they wait to build a house. They took refuge with family in White Salmon, and they could see the fire as it approached the vineyard.
It looked like the whole mountain was on fire from where we were, and it didn't look good.
Fortunately, firefighters were able to stop the fire just down the road from the grapes.
Really built this from nothing, and to think that we might have lost it was really, really scary.
But wildfires can do damage to vineyards even if the flames never touch the vines. Smoke can taint the flavor of wine, something Bailey Goldstein learned firsthand during the 2020 wildfires. Nearly her entire harvest was ruined.
And it can seem almost like burnt plastic.
Luckily, the fire this year happened early in the growing season, so smoke taint shouldn't be a problem. But with climate change expected to bring more intense and frequent wildfires in the years to come, Bailey Goldstein knows she'll need to adapt.
And we are acutely aware of the fact that this is probably our new reality, and probably we'll have I hope just a couple vintages every decade.
Cale Williams, KGW News.
Ah, yes, a unique concert this evening brought the sounds of classical music to residents of a Portland homeless shelter, the Bybee Lakes Hope Center. That definitely sounds like hope. It was an unusual venue for Hunter Nowak, who's known for setting up his grand piano amidst some of Oregon's most stunning scenery. We featured one of his in a landscape performances last year at the very top of Mount Bachelor. While tonight's show was much more intimate, it appeared it was just as impactful.
For a portion of the people here, they've never got to experience anything calming, relaxing. This draws together all different walks of people to one location to be able to enjoy something spectacular.
Yeah, Bybee Lakes is in the former Wapato jail building. It houses some 250 people working to transition into more permanent housing.